R&B diva Layla Hathaway. She's up next. Let's talk. What's up, everybody out there? How you doing? Thank you guys so much for tuning in over here to Pepe's Point of View, and I am your host, your R&B historian, Pepe. I'm glad you was able to stop by. We're talking about R&B diva Layla Hathaway. That's right, Layla Hathaway. She is the daughter of Soul Man, the late, the great Donny Hathaway. That Layla Hathaway, okay? And we're going to skip the regular smuggler because I'm almost done with uploading videos for the R&B divas that I've been promising, people that I would talk about over in the community tab. So I'm trying to get them out of the way, and that's right. Baby, the snow has melted. The ice has melted. That's right. So I will be going into the office tomorrow. That's right. And I'm so looking forward to it. A week and a half, an additional week and a half of a break of, I guess you can call it a vacation or what have you. Hey, I'm not complaining. I promise you I'm not. But I'm ready to get back into the office, though. I am. Been in the house for a week and a half. But that's all right. I've been with you guys, right? You guys been with me. Thank you guys so much for your support. For you returning viewers, for you subscribers, for you new viewers over here. That's right. Thank you guys so much. And by the way, call Layla Hathaway up and let her know she's my guest over here. She doesn't know it, though. Layla Hathaway doesn't know that she's my guest. But let her know, we're talking about Layla Hathaway. We're talking about him. Just like Valerie Simpson. Valerie Simpson, to me, was a tough one to do, and I'm still trying to hash out, all of the things that I wanted to say in the video. And by the way, listen here, you guys, I understand some of you guys are like these R&B divas just as much as I do. I can't cover everything. I can't. So if I miss something, it's intentionally or either I forgot. Okay. And I'm basically, anyway, you guys don't need to know all that. But anyway, either intentionally or I forgot. Okay, so I can't mention everything. And as I said to the young, I'm going to assume it was a lady who posted on the Vanity video about Vanity giving her life over to Christ, and so on and so forth. I understand that, but I just never got around to speaking about it. But it is what it is. So let's go ahead, go right into Layla Hathaway. We're going to talk about Layla Hathaway. And the reason why I say Valerie Simpson was a tough one, she was tough. Layla Hathaway, to me, she's not tough. She's a tad bit complicated for me, and of course, I have a Layla Hathaway story that I'm going to talk about. But let me give you this kind of idea of how I see Layla Hathaway as an R&B diva. All right. In my head, just in my head. Whew. So imagine that there is a young lady, a young girl. Let's just say she's in middle school, junior high school, or even in high school. And everybody knows that this young lady can sing, right? I'm not going to say everybody knows, but let's just say the majority of the school, people in the community, so on and so forth, they know that this young lady can sing. And those who don't know she can sing, when they find out she can, it's kind of like, oh wow, you have a great voice, so on and so forth. Like you sound really good. Like I like your voice. And this young lady, she's not boastful about it. It's kind of like, oh, thank you, I appreciate that. And she continues to move forward with her day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, well, I thank you, I appreciate it. You could say humble, this young lady is, but it's kind of like, okay, I guess I'm kind of used to people saying that. Yeah, I know I can. I've been, she's the young lady you might see on the church program, singing, or you might see her at the high school ball games, or singing the national anthem, things like that. Nothing major, but everybody knows she can sing, and her music teacher loves her, right? Because she sings, right? Okay. So there she is, this young lady, and she's known in the community. And then after that, let's just say she graduates high school, and whatever she's doing her thing. She went to college, so on and so forth. And maybe word gets out that people would say, and I'm just throwing out a story, is the story could go, oh, did you know that Layla, she's singing background for Patti LaBelle? Did you know that? And it's kind of like, oh, for real? It's like, oh, okay, well, I knew she could do it, I'm sure she's going to be successful, right? Or it could be something like, hey, Layla Hathaway, you remember her? Well, she has an album out. She has a recording deal. She has an album out. She has a song out. Really? Oh, well, I knew she could do it, so on and so forth, right? But in the midst of all of that, it's almost like, well, this particular individual, this young lady, she's talented and everything, but yet at the same time, who is she? Right? As I said before, I'm not going to necessarily say this young lady is humble. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying she's an introvert. But it's more like, well, if you know, if you don't, you don't. Yes, I can do it. And she sings, so on and so forth. But there's still kind of like a mystery to her. And that's kind of like how I see Layla Hathaway. I see her, to me, more of a mystery. She's kind of withdrawn, aloof, but not in a but in a friendly manner. She's to herself, but she's not to herself. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, okay, good. She'll have a conversation with you, but at the same time, she also doesn't have an issue with not having a conversation with you. It's kind of like, oh, if the subject matter pertains to me, fine, I'm talking about it. If it doesn't, I'm not talking about it. Layla Hathaway, to me, she's more like an anomaly, right? As an R&B diva, and I get the sense that Layla Hathaway career has kind of been like that. I don't know her. This is me. As I said, I love my R&B divas. This is always how I thought of her in my head. Honestly, about her, it's not a bad thing. It's just that we're going to talk about Layla Hathaway and get a good feel for, where she started with her first release to kind of like where she is now. Even though I am covering, for this particular video, I will be covering Layla Hathaway's, I think it's this way, yeah, her debut album, or her self-titled debut album on Virgin Records. Yeah, the one with the hits, Heaven Knows and Baby Don't Cry and Something, I'm Coming Back, that album, the very first one. Whew. So, where's my Layla Hathaway story? I'm glad you brought it up. Let me tell you about my Layla Hathaway story. I discovered Layla Hathaway just like I guess the majority of the people did. Um, I don't think it was the radio. It could have been the radio, but I'm for sure it was watching video, watching BET, watching Video Soul. 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure that's where I've learned of her. And she released a single. Her first single was a song called "Heaven Knows." Great song, by the way. I loved it a lot. Anywho, long story short, I liked the song, and then it was kind of like, okay, I think it almost reached number one. It almost was a number one hit for her. I think it made it into the top 5, right? I don't know, probably like number 3 or so on the R&B charts, and also possibly made a pop, entry as well. And so I was like, okay, so it was a nice song. Her song, Heaven Knows, to me was like a breath of fresh air, just nice, smooth, quiet. You can see yourself on the beach listening to that song. You can see yourself, maybe you can see yourself cleaning up to that song. Um, it's just a feel good song for almost any occasion. It can be a wedding song, you know. You can play it in the club. Like it's just a song. Heaven knows it's a song just, across the board. It can almost just be placed in any kind of situation. Well, anyway, play it in almost any situation, any environment. And so I didn't think much about Layla Hathaway at the time after that. I am a pup. I'm a young pup at the time. And I am discovering in 1990 how all of this works, right? As far as the putting together of the music and everything, and all of that that it entails. Like it's not just about getting in front of getting behind a microphone and singing, and then maybe having a live band with you or not. I'm talking about going into the studios, recording, what that process looks like, and all of that, right? The mixing and the mastering, all of that. Lead vocals, background vocals. And so one day, I'm over to my grandmother's house, and 9 times out of 10, if I'm over to my grandmother's house, you're going to find me in my aunt's room, right? You're going to find me in my aunt's room because, of course, there's a television in there, so I can just go in and, of course, watch TV and be out the way. I don't have to watch TV in the living room. I'm in my aunt's room, watching TV in my aunt's room. And not only that, my aunt also had a stereo in her room. And so I can easily just go to her room and do either one or two things: listen to music, watch the videos, or play, music, on the stereo. So this particular day, I am playing. I'm going over to her music, and I'm going to play, some music that she has over there. Now, my aunt did not like me to play any of her music. She felt like I didn't take care of music well. Like, say, for instance, to this day, like when I'm listening to my CDs or whatever, like I can have them all on the floor because I'm trying to listen to all of them. I don't. She don't think I properly, place them back where they're supposed to be, that kind of thing. So when she sighs at me every time that I'm near her, music, right? So I just so happened to see a cassette tape, well, a cassette tape cover. And when I reached down to grab it and to look and see what it was a copy of Layla Hathaway's single for Baby Don't Cry. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, okay. Now the single Baby Don't Cry is out. And I'm looking at the single, and I'm like, oh, she has this. And so I'm looking at it, and of course, I'm going to play it. And as I'm playing it, I'm reading the back of it. And lo and behold, it says it's written and produced and arranged by A'ngela Winbush. You guys already know A'ngela Winbush is my favorite R&B divas of all R&B divas. That's what it is. So now in my head, being somewhat intrigued by Layla Hathaway, I'm like, oh, Angela? It's like, well, oh, this is me because I like the song, but now that I know Angela has wrote and produced it, like now I want to know more about Layla Hathaway. Like, what's up with Layla Hathaway? Because now it's like, okay, if Angela is working with her and I'm really digging this song too, it's kind of like, okay, let me find out more about her. So that connection made me want to listen to more of Layla Hathaway. So now in my head, Layla Hathaway is a diva. You understand what I'm saying in my head now with just the A'ngela Winbush connection. And you guys already know at the time, right? At the time, I'm discovering, as I said, how all of this comes together. So I already have A'ngela Winbush's CD, The Real Thing, right? Okay, I already have that. But before I have A'ngela Winbush's The Real Thing CD, I had Stephanie Mills, right? Something in the Way You Make Me Feel So Good, So Right. And then Ron Isley of the Isley Brothers. Like, those two had their songs out at the same time competing for each other, right? And so then A'ngela Winbush shows up, right? Hold on, I'm trying to put it all together. Now A'ngela Winbush shows up, right? Yeah. A'ngela Winbush shows up. I'm sorry. Yeah, I guess I could do it kind of like this. Yeah, fan it out a little bit. A'ngela Winbush shows up, and I'm digging A'ngela Winbush, right? And all of her stuff. And so now I find out Layla Hathaway is in the mix too. So I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, so now I want to know more about Layla Hathaway. And then that was it pretty much, right? She released another single called Something, It's Something. And I was like, oh, okay. I like this as well. Nice track. But then after that, you hear nothing from, I don't hear anything from Layla Hathaway. And then she comes out with another song. And that song is called, I think something like Let Me Love You. I think that's the name of the single, called Let Me Love You. And when I heard it, I kind of looked like, oh, okay. I didn't think anything else about it, because when I saw it, if I remember the video correctly, it's kind of like they tried to make her sexy, and things like that. And I was like, this is not the Layla Hathaway that I knew of, And so I'm like, So I kind of shrugged my shoulder at the song and the video, and I kept moving. I was like, okay, well, it's good to see her back out. So that's from 1990 to 1994. All right. And then after that, I don't hear anything from her again. And then after, a while, I hear this song on the radio. And it's Forever, For Always, and For Love. Salute to Vandross. Layla Hathaway is singing it. And I'm like, whoa, this is good. It's like, this is real good. Like, now I want to know more about her. It's kind of like, at this moment in time, when it comes to Layla Hathaway, it's almost like you knew that she had it going on. You knew it, but this kind of confirms it. After all of this time, like, from 1990 all the way up to when she releases Forever, For Always, For Love, it's kind of like, who is Layla Hathaway? What is she about? You know what I'm saying? As I said, it's kind of like she's mysterious to me, and now I hear Forever, For Always, For Love, and I'm like, yeah, what I knew about her, what I kind of thought about her, is actually now coming, forward. It's kind of like center stage now. So we're going to stop right here. We're going to kind of talk about that, okay? Because now this is the moment where I would say, Layla Hathaway, baby, you got it going on. You understand what I'm saying? Of course, from 1990 all the way up until she released her Outrun the Sky album, she has her hands in many, many things. And having her hands in many things in different recordings, she recording with a lot of people, in the industry. That further proves my point. You remember what I was saying in my head? I'll see a young lady that people know she can do it. She does it. She can sing. She sings well. And you know that she can do it. And, you call her up or whatever. She can get these things done. And it seems as if, for me, I wouldn't necessarily say it's the respect of her father that people, and that could have something to do with it. The reason why people, I guess, have flocked towards her, within the industry. But I would also say that it also has a lot to do with the fact of her being able to do it, right? And the people in my head, that young lady, people also have respect for her, and they're not afraid of reaching out to her, to include her in things. You remember when I was talking about, oh, well, she sings at the programs. This person will probably, in the church programs, this person probably would sing, during the ball game, sing the national anthem, sing at weddings, so on and so forth. So that's kind of like how I see Lalah Hathaway. Up until she released her album Outrun the Sky. Now, how I discovered her album Outrun the Sky, I loved Terry Smiley's show back in the day. Like, I was a faithful viewer of the watcher of the Terry Smiley show. And so she was on there one day. And what intrigued me most, even though I liked her version of Forever, For Always, For Love, when she talked about the reason why she titled the album Outrun the Sky. Of course, 9/11 and all of that had happened. And so, talking about her, having a fear for flying, around that time. And so she titled it Outrun the Sky. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting, that's how she came up with the title. Only intrigued me the more to want to purchase the album. And so I finally got around to purchasing the album. And I was like, okay, I like this. I like this album a lot. So then speed up, some more. Then she releases another album. And then she gets to the point where, let's just say, she releases the song Angel, her version of Angel by Anita Baker, that Angel. So let's stop right there. And this is a good place to kind of wrap it up because we're in the 22 mark of the video. There's no question that during this time, the music industry, I guess you could say, is changing for sure. I stopped listening to music around 1997, 1996, especially on the radio. And then it was getting real hard to find the music that I liked listening to. I really had to do some searching in order to keep up with any of the artists that I liked. It seemed like the industry was pushing those artists out. Anywho, so when I hear a song like Forever, Far Away, For Love, when I hear a song like Angel, these renditions, to me, it's like these songs have an audience of their own. And you can just say within the urban, the Black community, okay? But the thing about these songs is that even though it's in the urban demographic, within the demographic as far as the age ranges are concerned, this song could probably be loved by, ages from 15 all the way up to 65. Why do I say that? Because Luther Vandross and Anita Baker, I'm pretty sure, is heavily played in a lot of Black homes. Okay, so when they hear this song, when people hear this song, they automatically know that's Luther Vandross, that's Anita Baker. All right, so that's number one. Number two is what I also like about Lalah Hathaway's versions of these two songs is that the producers, the record company, Lalah Hathaway, whomever, they decided to stay true to the song. Like they didn't try to, you know how most people do. Oh, well, I want to put my own spin on it. I wanted to add, put in me, as a singer and showcase, my versatility. Or the producer didn't try to, put his or her spin on it as well and say, well, I'm just trying to, put my stamp on it. This is my stamp as a producer so people can identify, me as a producer, of this track. This is something that I do in all of my songs, right? So no one did that. They kept the integrity of the song. Another reason why I think that these songs did well is because Lalah Hathaway did not try to out-sing Luther. She did not try to out-sing Anita. Lalah Hathaway didn't even try to out-sing herself. Like, it's almost like Lalah Hathaway. You remember what I said, that span of time where I feel as if when I asked the question, who is Lalah Hathaway? Up until that moment, I'm still having that question about it, like, who is Lalah Hathaway? Until these two songs come along, and now I'm like, okay, I got a feel of who Lalah Hathaway is as an R&B diva, right? Because, you can agree with me or disagree with me, but I feel like for a long time, I would put Lalah Hathaway in a category of singers, no disrespect, but like Selena Johnson, Shantae Moore, Leela James. You see where I'm going? Like, she would be in that category of singers. I don't know what you would call those singers, but to me, she fits in that category all the way up until these two songs. Now, it's like I get the feel that Lalah Hathaway, I put it to you this way. I don't see Lalah Hathaway breaking a sweat. All right. She's not the R&B diva that she's not the one I go to for my fix, right? She's not the one that you're going to get a lot of hoot and hollering. She's not the one who is going to give you all of these octaves. Like, she's not the one that's all over the stage, if you will, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, to me, it's kind of like she also gets lost in the midst of her recordings to me. Like, okay, where is she? And even in this album, her very first album, and since this album we're talking about, it's kind of like you're still trying to find out, where she belongs in this. And with songs like Heaven Knows and with songs like Baby Don't Cry, you kind of, you see that she's finding her way. I'm coming back. You can see that these producers, for whatever reason, had a good idea of who she was. Because this is me, I haven't heard all of her albums. Well, I've heard some of them, but not all of them. But to me, these two songs are the songs that from here on out, right or wrong, these are the songs that we will hold future material from Anita Baker, from Lalah Hathaway by. This is the measure that we're going to hold her accountable for Forever, For Always, For Love, and For Angel, right? Now, she's not a songwriter and producer like Luther Vandross, because obviously Luther Vandross knows the details of what he wants in a song. He does. And he captures that well. The same thing with Anita Baker. Anita Baker knows packaging. She knows how she wants to be packaged as an R&B diva. She knows that. She has that down. So much so that, rumor has it that if it's not her way, she's going to snatch everything from you and walk out of the recording studio and say, well, it's my way or no. It's my way or no way. All right, I'm just saying, that's what, allegedly. So, but she knows. But for Lalah Hathaway, for future purposes, because again, I go back to Anita Baker because Anita Baker knows how to package that. I don't know how she finds her songs, the songwriters, or anything like that, but for the most part, all of it complements her entire catalog. For the most part, complements, the previous record. For Layla Hathaway, I'm not quite sure, right? And if you think about it, though, when you think about a Layla Hathaway performance, when you think about a Layla Hathaway song, it's almost like, to me in my head, I see her being that Anita Baker, because Anita Baker's not all over the stage. Anita Baker, all she needs is a microphone in her hand, and there she is. Every now and then she might let it rip. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then, you might have seen her, kind of, use the stage. Same thing for Luther Vandross. They're not doing that, and that to me is Layla Hathaway. But somehow or another, she needs songs that showcases her abilities, her vocal abilities, and at the same time give us good music, like Anita Baker or Luther Vandross. Now, I'm not suggesting that she goes back and forth in Luther Vandross and Anita Baker's catalog to do these remakes. That's not what I'm saying, but it would really and truly be tough, for her to find that great material, is all I'm saying. And how does she do that? I don't know. As far as the album is concerned, I think, as I said before, I think these producers kind of understood their assignment when it came to her. And I always wondered in the back of my head, this is just me personally, since A'ngela Winbush is all over Baby Don't Cry, I'm talking about especially those background vocals. In my head, when this song came out, I always wondered, why did this track not say Layla Hathaway featuring A'ngela Winbush? I mean, why not? It's the same thing with, So Good, So Right. I always wonder, why did So Good, So Right on this album, why didn't it say Stephanie Mills featuring A'ngela Winbush? Because A'ngela Winbush is all over So Good, So Right. The same thing with the Isley Brothers, Spend the Night, those background vocals, like A'ngela Winbush. It should have been the Isley Brothers featuring Ronald Isley and A'ngela Winbush, Spend the Night, that single. Again, because of those background vocals. Yeah. Anywho, so that's pretty much where we are. And so I'm intrigued to find out more about Layla Hathaway as I listen to her entire catalog, and what would come of that. But for the time being, for this very present moment in time, she's in anomaly. But at the same time, Layla Hathaway, I know, as a present day, I will always say, what, that Layla Hathaway, she got it going on. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not just because it's one of the singles on the songs on the album. It's just that she definitely has it going on. And I just really and truly do believe that with the choosing of the right material, she would definitely find a way. And I came across this article, this review, and I was like, when I was thinking about this in my head, I was like, see, I know I'm not far from it, because someone had a similar review. Alex Henderson rated the album, we're talking about a self-titled album, of 4 out of 5 stars. He found that the material on this CD ranges from excellent to routine, depending on who's writing or producing a particular song. Hathaway doesn't always have fantastic material to work with, but when she does, the results are quite memorable, and that's kind of like how I feel, as well with Layla Hathaway. I think there's another album as well, review, that I was like, interesting. Well, anyway, we don't have to go any further with that, but that was just a good review. And that's what I'm saying. She present her with good material, and I definitely think she can get into that caliber of divas such as Anita Baker and soul men such as Luther Vandross. Tell me what you think. I could be totally off, and then I could be right on the money. Well, anyway, so thank you guys so much for tuning in over here to Peppy's Point of View. And on that note, don't forget to put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, she says, baby, remember, I love you, but God loves you best. I love you guys out there. Thank you guys so much for your support and so on and so forth. I look forward to seeing you next video. And until then, you guys know what to do. Take care of yourselves out there. I know I will.